The Royals have experienced a recent power outage, going a week without a home run. So they will look to Jose Guillen, who has a 20-game hitting streak and leads the team with 13 home runs. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. So far, the Royals have pitched Albert Pujols very well this weekend, holding him to a walk and a single. As interleague play comes to a conclusion around Major League Baseball today, the Royals will need to hold Pujols down again to win the series in the final and deciding game with the St. Louis Cardinals. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. And the Royals have not allowed a home run to Albert Pujols or Matt Holliday so far in this series. But on the flip side, the Royals haven't hit a home run in this series. In fact, they haven't hit a home run in the past week.
Well, Ryan, that was one thing in the Royals offense that we knew coming into the season was going to be a problem, and it kind of shows up right now. When you look at the games that they have lost, the other teams have hit home runs. But you look at this stretch where ETI's Caspo, Guillen, DeJesus, Betancourt, Butler, these are all these games they've gone without a home run. So you didn't expect it to be this drastic, but it's a matter of how well the pitchers that they're facing are throwing against them.
So the Royals aren't hitting home runs. They're also not allowing home runs. Brian Bannister got a win in Washington. Zach Greinke got a win here against the Cardinals, and both did not allow a home run.
And when you keep the ball in the ballpark, you got a chance. Yesterday's ball game, you saw a 2-run homer, 3-run homer. You're down 5 runs. But if you got to get 3 or 4 hits for every run you get, then that's going to be tough on the offense. So the Royals do need to have some kind of offense in terms of the long ball to get going in this division.
And if you go by the numbers, we shouldn't see many home runs today, as Bruce Chen has allowed 3 in 36 in the third innings, and rookie Jaime Garcia has allowed 3 in 85 in the third inning. We'll talk pitching when we come back. Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. Today at Kauffman Stadium, the Royals will get their first look at 23-year-old Jaime Garcia, a former 22nd round draft pick, but right now he has the second best ERA in the major leagues. Now, he's not the same pitcher as Zach Greinke, but his numbers so far are comparable to Zach's start last year.
Well, they really are. You look at the wins and losses, the ERA, that Jaime Garcia really is off the charts at 1.79, and that's a little bit better than Zach last year, but it shows that both these guys, Ryan, when they're on, they can control that hill out there.
33-year-old Bruce Chen will pitch again for the Royals. This will be his sixth start as he continues to fill in for Gil Mesh on the disabled list. Last time out, he took the loss at Washington, only gave up 2 runs in 6 innings, but the Royals lost that game 2-1. Here's today's Kia report.
The walks for Bruce Chen are steady going up, Ryan, and if he's going through this lineup today, if he gets a little tentative in the middle, then that number could climb. But he has one advantage today, is there's only 2 Cardinals in this lineup have ever faced him.
And one of those 2 Cardinals is Albert Pujols. Here's the M&I Bank Cardinals batting order, and Pujols has a home run against Bruce Chen, but he only has 1 home run in his last 17 games. Matt Holliday will be the designated hitter, and Colby Rasmus will move down to the number 6 position, and that comes after Colby Rasmus had a big hit for the Cardinals yesterday, a 3-run home run. So no home runs from Holliday or Pujols, but they got one from Rasmus and one from the leadoff man, Skip Schumacher. It's the Royals and the Cardinals, and the first pitch is next. Working on a win, hoping to take the series from the St. Louis Cardinals. After the Royals won 4-2 on Friday, the Cardinals came back yesterday 5-3. And Royals baseball from beautiful Kauffman Stadium is brought to you today in high definition. Presented by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Out to right field, and here's Joel Goldberg.
Well, guys, I was talking to Ned Yost today about the performance and the consistency of Bruce Chen, and I said, what's made him so good? And he said, It's his ability to keep hitters off balance. It's not like he has great stuff, but throwing that cutter in, throwing the two-seamer away. If you're watching at home today, watch the speeds of the pitches. Mid-80s, jump up to the 90s, back down to the 80s. Inside, outside, up and down, changing the eye level. That is what has been so key for Bruce Chen, and that's what he needs to do again today to be successful, guys.
All right, Joel, and that takes us back again to the Monday night game in Washington when Livan Hernandez beat the Royals by doing just that, changing speeds with a fastball that was anywhere from 82 to 87 miles an hour. Strike one to Skip Schumacher, who has picked up where he left off last year against the Royals. He had .385 against KC in 2 series. And now in this series, 4 hits, including a 2-run home run yesterday.
Well, Ryan, hitters will tell you right away that if you throw 100 miles an hour, eventually I can speed up enough to catch up to that. But hitters have a hard time slowing themselves down.
Bruce lets an 0-2 pitch get away, and in doing so lets Schumacher get away. 88 degrees and climbing. There was a thunderstorm early this morning, so that cooled things down temporarily, but now the sun's coming out, so we should get into the 90s before the day's over. Game started on time, and the time and temp is brought to you by the parking spot at KCI. So Schumacher on, and now Felipe Lopez. Lopez was the Cardinals' shortstop on Friday, and he batted 6th. Today he'll play at second base and bat second. The Cardinals have had 3 different number 2 hitters in this series, beginning with Matt Holliday. So Bruce making his 6th start of the year for the Royals. 2 wins, 2 losses as a starter. And a respectable ERA, 4.33. Schumacher is running, and the pitch is fouled away. Bruce was the victim of some bad luck on Monday against the Washington Nationals. Only gave up 3 hits in 6 innings. Now, he did walk 4, but none of those walks turned into runs. Bruce gave up a couple of solo home runs to guys you wouldn't expect home runs from. Mike Morse and Christian Guzman. And Bruce, just like Livan Hernandez, had the benefit of a huge strike zone of home plate umpire Jerry Lane. Lined into right center to Jesus. Will play it on a bounce. His momentum takes him over into right field. And Schumacher easily goes first to third.
That's one of the things with a veteran hitter. When you know the left-hander is going to be away, they go out there and they take it away from him. And he does a good job here on a changeup from Bruce Chen.
So, Frank, what did you do against a guy who he had 3 or 4 basic pitches, but he was changing speeds on all of them?
Well, what I tried to do, Ryan, was just figure out which one was better. If it's a changeup and if he's going to be away location-wise, then I just try to slow myself down, get up on the plate, and try to take that pitch away. I always wanted to try to force a pitcher to throw me on the inner half because that's where I was strongest.
So first and third for Albert Pujols with nobody out. And Bruce pitching him inside and misses. So Pujols began this series as a .400 career hitter at Kauffman Stadium. 36 RBIs in only 27 games. But now in these 2 games, 1 for 7 with a single and a walk. He has not scored a run. He has not driven in a run.
But he's still so dangerous. You don't want to make any mistakes. You know what, Bruce Chen and Livan Hernandez are different, as Livan Hernandez got the experience. And the umpires know that he works the outer half, and he'll just keep moving that ball off the plate, where Bruce Chen has to pitch more inside to set up the outside.
2 balls, 1 strike. Dana DeMuth is the home plate umpire today, so we'll keep an eye on his strike zone. He is the crew chief. Inside again, so no doubt what the Royals are trying to do to Pujols, try and crowd him by pitching inside and not allow him to get those big strong arms extended.
They just have to be careful not to leave it inside around the knees on the plate at all. If he can get to that pitch, you want to come up a little bit more around his hands and try to tie him up.
Very close. Well, on Monday, that was a strike with Jerry Lane behind the plate.
Well, he really had Albert set up with his pitch, too, after pounding him inside with the first 4 pitches. There he is right there on the outside corner, lower half, and that, in most cases, should be a strike.
Immediately, Jason Kendall goes running out to the mound, maybe to say to Bruce, hey, let me work on the umpire to get that call, but stay in that zone. If he stays in that zone all day, the Royals and Chen are in good shape.
Well, stay in that zone and make sure that your body language doesn't work against your catcher back there. If he's trying to get pitches for you and the umpire sees your body language is not good after a pitch, then that may not really negate everything that Jason Kendall's trying to do.
And you can understand right now, Bruce is a bit frustrated because he started the game jumping ahead of Schumacher 0-2, but then hit him with a pitch. And then the single, then the walk. And Holiday offered at it, and he went too far, according to Kerwin Danley. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bruce has never beaten the Cardinals. He has faced them 8 times. Only 2 of those appearances were starts. He is 0-3. And Holiday pulls it foul, and Bruce is ahead 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Schumacher hit by a pitch. Felipe Lopez singles. Albert Pujols walks. And Chen trying to get around a bases loaded, nobody out.
I think if they break him all down in on his hand and try to get him to hit a ground ball, then that'll help him a lot right here. Just keep the ball out of the air if possible.
Missed inside, and it's 2-2. Also missed the target.
Well, you can see where Jason Kendall wants his pitch. He wants it up a little bit on the outer half, and this ball was down and in.
Still 2-2. Holiday, just like Albert Pujols, has had a quiet series. Just 1 for 8 so far. He has scored a run. He has not driven in a run. So the combination of Pujols, Holiday, and Ludwig do not have an RBI yet. And Ryan Ludwig is not in the lineup today. He was not in the lineup yesterday either. And Holiday in the air to center field. That'll get home a run. Everyone is tagging, but not everyone will move up. Schumacher to the plate, Lopez to third, and the Cardinals lead 1-0.
Now, this is a great piece of hitting by Holiday right here. I mean, he was off balance on that curveball, but got enough bat on it to get it out to center field and get the run in from third.
Royals defensively today, and some guys have moved around. David DeJesus goes to center with Jose Guillen at right. Mike Aviles will be at short. Willie Bloomquist at second. Wilson Betemit at first. And Jason Kendall is back behind the plate after getting yesterday off on the day he celebrated his 36th birthday. Inside again to David Freese. 2 hits. He has driven in a run in the first 2 games, and he's played outstanding defense over at third. You think of Pujols, of course, you think of the batting average and the home runs and the RBIs. You don't think about his legs much, but he will steal. He has 6 this year. One ball, 1 strike. And I would think, Frank, that if a pitcher is facing Albert Pujols and the stress that comes with that, if he only reaches first base, that must be a huge relief for the pitcher, and then you forget that he's even over there.
Well, you do, and then when you forget that he's over there, then the next thing you know, he's on second base.
Bruce is ahead 1-2 on Freese. Pujols has had as many as 16 stolen bases as a major leaguer, and that was last year in 2005. A strikeout of Freese. 2 down.
Freese takes a swing at this pitch, Ryan, like he's expecting the ball inside, and Bruce Chen goes to the outer half, 1 ball and a half off the plate. And if he can get that strike without the batter swinging, then that'd be a good spot for him to stay.
And now Colby Rasmus, who had a 3-run home run yesterday and has 4 hits in the first 2 games. Of course, we don't see the Cardinals with them being in the National League, so it's so easy to think about Pujols and Holiday and Ludwig. But Colby Rasmus has as many home runs as Pujols does. That was his 15th yesterday, as Chen evens the count at 1-1.
Different body types, but he's tall, wiry, strong. He's got strong hands, and the ball jumped off his bat very well.
Very awkward swing. Perhaps the list worthy, and it's 1-2.
Bruce tied him up with that fastball up under his hands.
Just missed outside, so this is a much different strike zone than on Monday.
This is Wilson Betterman playing first. He really gets off of there quick, but Albert didn't move down. He didn't take his secondary lead to second base, and Betterman just ran right into him.
Tied him up, still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Anytime the Royals play the Cardinals, they always got the work cut out for them with this tough lineup that they have. But it's just some side notes. The Cardinals are 28-5 when scoring first, so that means an uphill battle every time they score first in a ball game.
Just got a piece of it. Rasmus was the Cardinals' first-round pick in 2005 and then was immediately labeled with the dreaded 5 tool, which on one hand is a compliment, but there is very little room for error when the scouts are saying that every basic baseball tool he has is above average. Pujols takes off, no throw, so he'll get his 7th stolen base. And it's 3-2 on Rasmus. So full count on the left-hand batter with a switch hitter, Randy Winn, on deck. The Cardinals have the bases loaded with nobody out. So far, they have scored 1. And Bruce Chen is 1 strike, 1 out away from getting out of it. And he misses outside, and now it's a 29-pitch inning. So the bases loaded again, and now 2 down. And before Randy Winn comes to the plate, Ed Yost is going to go out and chat with Bruce Chen. So even if the Cardinals only get the 1 run with the bases loaded and nobody out, it is still a successful inning for them, because they will make Bruce throw at least 30 pitches on a hot, humid day.
Well, you're right, Ryan. And I think right now what Bruce is going through the middle of this start is just being a little too tentative. I mean, he's not hitting the plate with any of his pitches, and he's just trying to be too fine. And when you do that, you just create more of a problem for yourself. With a hit batter just trying to get inside, they got 2-4 inside, and he's followed by 2 more walks in this inning.
So Randy Winn will bat with the bases loaded, 2 down. He has 5 at-bats in this series, 1 hit, a double. Started this year with the Yankees and was let go in May, and now is hooked on with the Cardinals. And he's a valuable player when he is right, as He can play everywhere in the outfield, and he's a switch hitter. Frank was telling you when we got started that there are only 2 hitters in the lineup who have seen Bruce Chen before today, and one of them is Randy Wynn. 3 hits and 9 at bats. One ball, 1 strike. Two walks and a hit batter in the inning. And he's missed inside quite a bit. The right-hand batters in this inning. Randy Wynn is batting from the stronger side for him. 346. Or excuse me, the weaker side, 273. He is a much better hitter from the other side of the plate. And as we've told you so often, that happens quite a bit. A natural right-hand batter becomes a switch hitter, and the new side ends up being the stronger side. Pretty good rip at that pitch and fouled it straight back.
Yeah, 273 is not that bad, and when you're facing the left-hander with the bases loaded, it looks even bigger. But you're right, you face more right-handed pitching, so you get to hit left-handed a lot more.
But I wonder if, in your mind and your heart, you always feel more comfortable at the plate from that natural side.
I think for the most part you feel stronger, and I think that, you know, Woolley was real strong from the right side, and he wasn't from the left side. And so his extra base hit mostly came from the right side.
So Chen gives up 1 run. He avoids a disaster, but he throws 34 pitches. Nobody out. Here's how the Royals are lined up today, presented by M&I Bank. Jason Kendall is back in there. He has done very well against left-hand pitchers. That's a good sign for him. Mike Aviles will be at shortstop today. So Yuniesky Betancourt is out. Wilson Betemit is at first. Billy Butler will DH. And Willie Bloomquist gets a start at second base. All of those against left-hander Jaime Garcia. Here's the Kia report.
All right, he's got a great resume. He leads the NL rookies with 7 wins this season. He does have a great changeup, but everybody likes his curveball and thinks that might be his best pitch. But when he gets ahead of you in the count, look out. Opposing hitters are only hitting 147.
Ball 1 on Scott Pasednik. And the Royals have just 2 left-hand bats in the order today. Pasednik and DeJesus. Scott with 3 hits and a run scored so far. And batting right at 290. Down 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jaime Garcia, 23 years old, from Reynosa, Mexico. The same hometown as Jorge Cantu, an infielder with the Florida Marlins. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Born in Mexico, grew up in Mexico, but he went to high school in Texas, so therefore he was part of the draft and taken by the Cardinals in the 22nd round in 2005. Talking to Tony La Russa before the game about him today. And Garcia didn't necessarily do anything special once he became a professional. He just was kind of a diamond in the rough. And he hasn't pitched like a 22nd round pick. He's pitched very well ever since becoming a professional. Some guys start off as a long shot, but they gain some arm strength or they add a pitch and all of a sudden become a prospect. But Tony La Russa says as far as he can remember seeing Jaime Garcia in spring training when he was in the minor leagues, he was considered a prospect. Left field, and Randy Wynn is there to make the catch on Posednik. So one down, and let's go back to Joe Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, you talked about him being 23, and talking to some of the Cardinal people about Jaime Garcia, they say he's one of the more mature 23-year-old young pitchers that you could meet out there, and very calm on the mound, never gets flustered. Kind of remind you maybe of a Joakim Soria as far as that goes. They said that he really didn't have a shot at making this team in spring training, but he competed from the get-go, fresh off of Tommy John surgery in September of '08, but he never looked back. They said he's extremely confident, and he's kind of borderline on the edge of cocky or arrogant without ever crossing it. Very confident in what he has, and he doesn't say a whole lot, they said, but he does a lot of listening to guys like Adam Wainwright and Chris Carpenter. They think he's going to be a really good one, guys.
All right, Joel, thank you. There's a ground ball to Brendan Ryan. So Jason Kendall is out, 2 down. And we look at the Cardinals on defense, presented by Suzuki. Randy Wynn in left, Colby Rasmussen center. Skip Schumacher moves to the outfield from second base. Brendan Ryan is at shortstop. Felipe Lopez at second. Yadier Molina didn't start on Friday night, but now he's been behind the plate the last 2 games.
Well, Ryan, I like what Joel had to say about Jaime Garcia. I think you gotta be a little cocky out there. I mean, as long as you can control it within his parameters, but you got to have some belief in yourself. And I think that when you're not overpowering in any area, you got to have that confidence that you can make your pitches when you want to make them, and that confidence when you get in tough situations, what gets you out of those tough situations.
You know, if there's a bit of an attitude of I'm pretty good, and you are good, it's called confidence.
Well, it is.
If you say I'm good and your numbers don't support it, you're arrogant.
Well, if something happens, you're right about that. I mean, I told you the story before. I mean, I would go to Willie Randolph and I would go to Lou Whitaker before a 3-game series or 4-game series, and I'd say, look, we got you guys for this many games. I'm going to outplay you in every game.
And you probably felt like you could. De Jesus drives Rasmus to the warning track, but the Royals are down in order. Had the bases loaded with nobody out. in the top of the first, but Bruce Chen only allowed 1 run. Got a couple of key strikeouts, one against Randy Wynn to end the inning. Royals down 1-2-3 against Jaime Garcia. So to the second inning with Yadier Molina, Brendan Ryan, and Skip Schumacher coming up. And it will be close to, if not, another sellout. The first 2 games were sellouts. Royals winning 4-2 on Friday. The Cardinals 5-3 yesterday. And Yadier Molina not swinging the bat well right now. Did not take a good swing against Bruce Chen. And he is 0 for his last 11 and batting .237.
Well, anything away from him, he's really been reaching for it. It's like he's always looking for the ball inner half right now. And that's where he probably feels most comfortable. But he's been a guy that typically likes to hit the ball the other way. Tony's using the hit and run and things like that. So, but when you get too slow for the fastball and too quick for the breaking ball, that's just a strange place to be.
He is a very difficult hitter to strike out. By his standards, his strikeouts are up this year. He has 30 in 224 at-bats, which is still good. But last year, he was the most difficult hitter to strike out in the National League. Doesn't walk a lot, but is a great bet to make contact. Still no balls, 2 strikes. Getting the day off on Friday, and Yadier Molina very much of the same mold as Jason Kendall. He is an everyday catcher. And last year, he started 140 games for the Cardinals. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Molina batted .351 in September last year, so he didn't wear down at all playing 140 games. Into shallow right field, Guillen coming up to make the play. So Molina is now 0 for his last 12. Now you can watch player locker room interviews anytime you want. Go to foxsportskansascity.com and click on the video link for 24-hour access to Royals info and video. And we go from one struggling hitter to another. Brendan Ryan is 0 for his last 14, and he is hitting .204. For 3 with a sacrifice bunt yesterday. The sacrifice bunt was in the Cardinals' 2-run 5th inning. Two balls, 1 strike. Bruce threw 34 pitches in the top of the first inning. Allowed 1 run, 1 hit. There were 2 walks and a hit batter. So he invited the Cardinals to a big inning, but they wouldn't take it. Now 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, when you're facing hitters that are struggling, you want to just go ahead and just get strike 1 and get ahead of them and really keep that 0 for going. But when you work from behind, you make them a better hitter, even though the average says they're not swinging the bat well.
And he gets away with a walk. So 3 for Bruce Chen. And Brendan Ryan at first base with 1 out. You know, there are some pitchers, though, Frank, and I think Bruce Chen might be one of them, that's just their game. They're not going to work the middle of the plate. Sometimes they're going to give up walks.
Well, just finding out what the umpire is going to give you. If you don't want to work the middle, you definitely want to work the middle, but you want to work off the corners, but you got to get some of the plate. So you got to first experiment to see what the umpire is going to give you. And if he's going to give you off the plate, you know, you just stay off the plate. But if he's not going to give it to you, you got to move it back on the plate until you find out where his zone is. But Bruce on both sides of the plate have been off today so far.
You know, there's some guys who, you know, they throw 95 to 97 with movement. Now, those guys shouldn't be walking anyone at all, that kind of stuff. But other guys have to live on the edge, and there are going to be games when the walks are going to be high. Skip Schumacher was down 0-2, leading off the game, and was hit by a pitch. And that was a break for the Cardinals, obviously. And then he came around to score on a Matt Holliday sacrifice fly. He's down in the count 0-2 again. And as we discussed yesterday, Schumacher is not one of the prototypical leadoff hitters, if there is such a thing these days, that goes up there looking to work a long count, taking pitches even if they're strikes. If he's up there and he sees something that he likes, he's ripping. 1-2.
And that could be a result of the hitting coach, Mark McGuire. I mean, he was a big hitter. He went up there, got his pitch, and really went after it if it was in his zone. And you look at the first 2 games of this series, the Cardinals, for the most part, have hit early in the count. They get the fastball, they're letting it go.
Brendan Ryan runs, and Kendall couldn't get it out of his glove the way he wanted. So the second stolen base of the game for the Cardinals. And for Brendan Ryan, that is his 5th of the year.
Well, he's just going first move, and you know, sometimes when you don't pay attention to the guy at first base, they can count on you, and they can count and see how long it takes you to deliver from the time you come set. And they time you, and then they just take the base. They took that base very easily.
And now 3 balls, 2 strikes. So from 0-2 to 3-2. And Bruce has already walked 3 and hit a batter. Still 3-2. Bruce in the rotation with Gil Mesh on the disabled list, and Gil still trying to get back. His last session off the mound included 35 pitches, and he is seeing some progress, just not as much as he would like. Another walk, and that is 4 in an inning and a third.
You know, Ryan, the Royals are definitely going to need Gil Mesh to come back and really provide some pitching this season. He hasn't pitched since May 25th, so that's a long time to be out. Then you got to determine how much of a rehab assignment he's going to go through, and just how many starts he's going to have the remainder of the year.
It's like Kaneko Teixeira is going to start warming up as Bruce Chen is laboring again. And talking to Bruce or Gil Mesh about what you were just talking about, you know, he's been out for so long now. He was saying that, you know, now he's having difficulty even when the shoulder feels good to find his mechanics again. And pitchers' mechanics are so important. As we've learned from Zach Greinke, making one adjustment that affects, what, 1/10 of a second or something like that, and all of a sudden he's back on track. So those mechanics are very precise.
It seems like it's a never-ending battle. When Ned Yost took over, he got the pitchers back on the mound. He took away the flat ground playing catch, and so I haven't been able to see Gil Mesh in his work, but I wonder if he's actually just playing his catch from the mound. If he does that, then he'll be closer to staying with his mechanics than throwing on flat ground, just playing catch.
Now the Royals need him, no doubt about that. So Ryan at second, Schumacher at first. Felipe Lopez singled in the first inning, and that's the Cardinals' only hit. Down, no balls and 2 strikes. And I say that is their only hit. And on one hand, that sounds good, but on the other hand, they have had 6 base runners, including that 1 hit. 4 walks and a hit batter, and 2 walks in this inning with 1 out. One ball, two strikes. Boy, would the Royals love to have a double play. If there was a such thing as you could pick one situation all game where you can get a double play, I think they'd use it up right now, because that would get them out of the inning. It would mean Albert Pujols would lead off with nobody on in the third. Lopez has grounded into 3. Ryan takes off for third. He is safe with another stolen base. Schumacher held at first. So the Cardinals get a runner over at third with less than 2 outs, but the double play is still in order.
Well, that's true, and you wonder if there might have been even a hit and run, but the pitch was so far inside, Lopez didn't swing at it, but Schumacher didn't move, so that might give you an indication that it may not have been one. But Brendan Ryan doesn't have a long lead, but he just goes first move, Chen never looked back, and he took advantage of it.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Bruce Chen is 2 pitches away from 60. And there is 1 out in the second inning.
And that's just total command problems there. That's just not being able to throw the ball over the plate and working deep counts. And he just really, the Royals are fortunate they only down by 1 run at this point.
They're going to get a pop-up here as Bloomquist backs out to the grass. So no double play, but no run home. And now 2 on, 2 out, and Pujols to the plate. Let's take a look at today's You Call It, presented by Sprint. Who would you pay the most to see play? Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Albert Pujols, or Babe Ruth?
Wow, what a list.
It's a pretty elite group of players. Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, a space, and then A, B, C, or D. Way outside. Pujols walked and stole a base in the first inning. So 1 for 7 with 2 walks. And that's it in this series. Two and 0. And Albert taking that pitch like he wasn't expecting a strike. His walk was his 55th this year. That's the most in the National League. He has also been intentionally walked 21 times, which is 8 more than the next closest National League hitter. 2-1.
You know, Pujols got stolen base, Ryan, was his 7th of the season. And other than Scott Podsednik, no other Royal has 7. And when you started the season, you watch how the Royals were running, you thought they'd set some kind of stolen base record by the end of the season, but they just pretty much have shut down the running game.
Now 2 balls, 2 strikes on Pujols. Royals had 17 stolen bases in their first 12 games. Brendan Ryan at third base with a walk and 2 stolen bases. Skip Schumacher at first with a walk. This will be pitch number 30 in this inning for Bruce Chen and number 64 in the game. Into center field, medium deep, but playable. So Chen plays with fire again. He hasn't been burned yet. And the Cardinals lead 1-0. 64 pitches. A reminder to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in today's game. Billy Butler will lead off the bottom of the second inning. Billy with 2 hits, including his 24th double in this series. That ties him for the league lead. It ties him with Dustin Pedroia, who broke his foot the other day. So he's out for a while. And the Red Sox scrambling. Made a trade with the Oakland A's to get Eric Patterson to come over. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Billy.
That's a big loss for the Red Sox. To lose your leader like that and a broken foot, that takes a while.
I guess they're still trying to decide whether he needs surgery or not on the foot. Surgery would promote healing. Off the knuckles, and Pujols runs it down. Pujols has won a Gold Glove in his career and makes a nice play on Billy Butler. Check the pitch location, brought to you by Taco Bell.
That's a breaking ball, curveball. They got above the trademark on Billy's bat. Didn't get a good swing at it, but Albert Pujols just sprinted down the line. And he was about as stretched out as far as he could stretch when he made that catch.
So Garcia's retired the first 4. And now Jose Guillen with a 20-game hitting streak. That is the longest hitting streak for a Royal since 2001, when Ray Sanchez had a 21-game hitting streak. And that same year, Ray was traded away. And the Royals brought on the lovable Neifi Perez. Up the middle, speaking of shortstops, Brendan Ryan is there. And Jose Guillen is the second out. Last day of interleague play is today, and today's league leaders are brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. So in 2010, the American League once again has played very well against the National League. And the debate has gone on over the past 4, 5, 6 years since the American League has dominated the way that they have. Is the American League a better league?
I think offensively it is. From what I've seen, that DH, that extra hitter sure makes a big difference.
Alberto Callaspo had a 3-hit game on Friday, hitless yesterday. Slowly getting in that average closer to 300 where he finished last year, right now at 280. Three balls and no strikes. Garcia's last start was at Toronto, and for the first time this year as a starter, he did not give up a walk. There's ball 4 to Callaspo. Walks have not been a huge issue for him, but then again, you can't look at his numbers and say, you know, he has had great control. That same game was the only time this year that Garcia has given up more than 2 earned runs in a start. So he has been consistent since day one. He ended up winning that game at Toronto, giving up 3 runs in 6 innings. A rare home run. He's only allowed 3 this year, but no walks. So Callaspo is the Royals' first runner, and Mike Aviles takes strike 1.
Now, Garcia is another one of those pitchers that are throwing well, and 12 of his 14 starts have gone down as quality starts. And I tell you, when you can get that kind of consistency from your starter as a manager, you got to feel pretty good writing his name in the lineup on that 5th day or that 4th day, whichever your rotation comes around.
No, Tony La Russa was saying that from his very first bullpen session in spring training until the final out of spring training, nobody in a Cardinal uniform pitched better than Garcia.
It's all about command. I mean, he's not overpowering, but he lives off command. Command on the outside corner with his fastball, and then using his curveball and his changeup. But it's all about throwing strikes, getting early strikes, and getting hitters off balance. when you look at velocity, there's not a lot of velocity difference between Garcia and Bruce Chen. They both got the same repertoire: fastball, changeup, curveball, and it's about which guy places it better on the plate.
Two balls and one strike on Aviles. A left-hand pitcher from Mexico. It doesn't take very long to think about who he might have grown up admiring. And the Cardinals have their own little Fernando Valenzuela fan club with Jaime Garcia and Dennis Reyes. Both left-hand pitchers, both from Mexico, and both grew up loving Fernando. When he was 5 years old, Jaime's dad took him to Los Angeles to see Fernando Mania, as they called it, when Valenzuela was pitching for the Dodgers. And from that point on, he was hooked. Back-to-back walks. So the Royals trying to do it again. They've done it so often this year. 2 outs, nobody on base, put together a rally. And 26 times this season, they have turned that into a run. And that'll bring up Wilson Betemit, who gets a start today. Billy Butler getting half the day off as the designated hitter, so Betemit is at first. And at very limited playing time with the Royals. He has 8 hits in 17 at-bats. That's .471. And 5 of those 8 hits have been extra bases.
You ever had 1,000 slugging percentage? I haven't either. But he's working on it.
Yeah, for a while there, he was having a tough time getting a single. All doubles and home runs. And the curveball is in the dirt. So all of a sudden, Garcia has lost his control. And the count is 1-0. This will give Bruce Chen some time to catch his breath with 64 pitches in the first 2 innings, including 4 walks and a hit batter. Across the knees for a strike. So Garcia from Reynosa, Mexico, and went to high school in Mission, Texas. Both of those 2 towns are right on the border. As Betemit drives it into right center field. That is well hit. Schumacher is back, and the Royals take the lead on another Betemit extra base hit.
This is one of the most unbelievable things I've seen. I mean, he just comes right off the bench, not playing very much, and keeps delivering that big hit for the Royals. Garcia gets behind after 2 walks, and right down the middle of the plate, and he hits this ball like he knows he's done some serious damage right here. He got good follow through, got through the ball really well, and the ball traveled in the right center field, out in the party court. I mean, just great concentration. Schumacher goes back as far as he can go, but it's a souvenir by this point.
Now Bloomquist pulls it to short, and he is out on the throw from Ryan. So the home run drought is over. Wilson Betemit with a 3-run home run in an inning that started with 2 outs and nobody on base. Wathan's dad.
Got that right.
John Wathan. Good to see you, Duke.
Nice to see you, Ryan.
Well, we were just talking with Frank about Wilson Betamine, this guy who just comes off the bench, and good bench guys will get you a single here and there. I mean, this guy's hitting for power. You said he almost hit the All-Star game sign during batting practice.
He did. His power in batting practice has amazed me. I didn't think he had that kind of power, but he does it fairly consistently. Yet he works the whole field as well. I mean, he's been a great addition for us. Come off the bench and done a great job. You need somebody like that to spell the regulars, and he's done a terrific job.
Let me ask you a catching question before we get to Alumni Fantasy Camp. When you were behind the plate and you had a pitcher like Bruce Chen, who just doesn't seem to have it yet, he's been able to avoid a big inning, but he's been all over the place, a lot of pitches. What do you do, first of all, to get him to calm down and find his zone, and then maybe keep the dugout patient with him that he's going to get through this?
Well, first of all, I think we were talking in Dayton's booth. We were talking about him being Harry Houdini today. Some of the times he's gotten out of the jams the first couple innings, and unfortunately his pitch count is so high, it's probably going to cost him later in the game. But if he can continue to pitch and pitch the way he's capable of, hit spots, hit corners, trust your stuff, and that's probably what Ned said when he went out there to talk to him in the middle of the inning. You don't usually see a manager go out this early in the ball game just to have a discussion with his pitcher, but I'm sure he was just trying to calm him down and tell him to trust his stuff, and it's going to come around.
All right, Alumni Fantasy Camp. I'm sure you have a few pitchers that show up there, and they need to trust their stuff too, right?
We've got a lot of players that need to trust a lot of things that show up out there, both alumni and the campers that come. But it's February 7th to 11th this year, and we're going to have it every other year now, Ryan. We did not have it this past year in spring training or prior to spring training. We decided that every other year to make it a little more special. So I would recommend that everybody that has come before and wants to come this year, please come, because we won't have it again until 2 years later, 2013, I guess.
There's some of the details that we don't talk a whole lot about when we discuss fantasy camp. Like, we do go over the 2 uniforms. You get your own uniform with your name on the back, more than one of those. But there's also an awards banquet. What happens at the awards banquet?
Well, we get up and talk about each player on the ball club, and it's kind of like a roast for each individual guy sometimes, the way it turns out. You get a most valuable player and a most inspirational player sometimes. And along with the awards banquet that last night, we had an autograph session where the guys can have things signed by our alumni. There's usually about 18 alumni that show up, usually 6 teams. And some of the guys coming this year, of course, Frank will be there again, I assume, and George and Saberhagen, Leonard, Mayberry, and we're trying to get Mark Gupizza, and it looks like we have a chance to get Bo Jackson as well. So a lot of great alumni will be there this year. And then the guys also get to come back afterwards, sometimes during the season next year, and come onto the field prior to the game for a reunion. One of the lucky campers will get to throw out the first pitch. So they've got a lot of stuff going for them. Baseball cards, the video of the week, team picture, 2 personalized uniforms, as you mentioned. It's quite a blast. And I don't know, I've told you before, I don't know who has more fun, the alumni or the campers, because it's great for us, too. We get together and tell a lot of stories over some beverages, I won't
cold beverages.
Cold beverages,
yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of cold beverages that week. A lot of ice for many parts of the bodies of the campers and the alumni.
Yeah, the
sometimes.
ice is just not for the drinks,
no,
right?
Well, it's multi-purpose. You can use it both ways.
Well, Bruce working on his first 1-2-3 inning after working hard to get through the first 2. And there's a ground ball to Willie Bloomquist. And with the former catcher in the booth, Bruce Chen has his first 1-2-3 inning.
How about that?
How about that?
We've got to mention the phone number real quick if we can to call 816-504-4150 or Royals.com/fantasycamp.
Good to see you, Duke.
Thanks, Ryan.
This is Joe Franklin, and after overcoming several obstacles, including a battle with a brain tumor, Joe Franklin volunteers with several organizations, including Cancer Action, where he helps to encourage others undergoing cancer treatments. And today he's enjoying the game from the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat right behind home plate. Two balls and no strikes on Scott Pasednik, who shuffles his feet and takes down and away from Jaime Garcia. Yadier Molina is going to go out to talk to him, and we will talk to Joel Goldberg out in the Royals Hall of Fame.
Cooperstown exhibit here at the Hall of Fame, and here's a really cool one. It's the history of the bat, beginning with bats in the 1870s, and then it progresses over time all the way up into a recently used Billy Butler bat, which is all the way down on the end. Want to let Royals fans know they can get a glimpse of baseball treasures of Cooperstown right around the corner. The Royals Hall of Fame is proud to present Cooperstown Corner, featuring World Series artifacts on loan from the National Baseball Hall of Fame and an entire wall chronicling Cooperstown's strong Kansas City connection. Plus, there is a very unique father and son exhibit featuring three father and son Royals, the McRaes, Wathans, and Bannisters. Located in the Outfield Experience, the Royals Hall of Fame is open 7 days a week for tours and is free to all fans during every Royals game. Guys, let's go back upstairs to you.
All right, thank you, Joel. As Scott Pasednik rolls one in between first and second and has a leadoff single.
Well, when you talk about CNI grounders, and this is a nice little changeup that Scotty just rolled over the top of it, and you know that top hand really rolled over right before that pitch got there, and that made that ball topple. But he got topspin on it, and that topspin is what carried the ball, past Lopez at second base.
Garcia retired the first five, but then back-to-back walks with 2 out in the second inning. Wilson Bedemeat's home run. Bloomquist grounded out to end the second inning, and then Garcia falling behind 3-0 on Pasednik before the base hit. So something happened to him after Jose Guillen grounded out for the second out in the second. Jason Kendall, 0 for 1 so far today. And now he's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. It's been a tough month for Jason, very consistent in the first 2. And Jason, before the season began, right around a .290 career hitter. So right around there in April and in May, but in the month of June, batting at .198. And when things like that happen to a 36-year-old catcher who plays every day, the questions will come up, does he need a break? But Ned Yost, who's a former catcher, and Jason Kendall, who has played every day of every season he's been healthy, will say no, that's not the case. It's just the normal peaks and valleys of a long baseball season.
Well, you just don't want those valleys to be longer than the peaks, and the older you get, those valleys tend to get a little bit longer. But Ned seemed to think you feel the effects of everyday playing like that from an offensive standpoint before you would physically.
Scott Pasednik with 20 stolen bases. That is 8th best in the American League. He has been thrown out 8 times, and that is the 2nd highest in the league. So a 71% success rate, and that's been debated. What's a good success rate? Is it 70%, 75%, 80% or higher?
Well, you can always go back to one of the stolen bases most important when you do have to have them. Scotty does have a few stolen bases where he had caught stealing. He just been on the back end of maybe a hit and run, and that's hurt him. But here's his first move, and he just outran the throw.
That was a stolen base on Albert Pujols, because Garcia had him picked off, and Pujols, in his haste to get the ball to the shortstop Brendan Ryan couldn't get the ball out of his glove.
And that happens a lot of times. He ran up to meet the throw, which was very good, but then getting that ball down on the end of the glove, he couldn't make the exchange. You see a lot of first basemen, they'll stand back and let the ball come to them, but once Pasetnik took off, he ran and caught it.
Into center field, so Kendall, struggling in the month of June, had a good swing on Garcia there, and we showed you at the beginning of the game that he has done well against lefties this year. And the Royals have runners at first and third with nobody out.
You know, normally with a guy at second base like Pasetnik, a base hit through the middle, he's going to score. But you see what Colby Rasmus is playing. I mean, he really gets on this ball fast before Pasetnik even gets to third base. So he's held up right away by Rodriguez at third base.
That's a good point. I mean, Pasetnik's speed and a ground ball into center field, that should be an automatic run.
Well, you would think so. I mean, it's you just put it on the board. And
yes.
When you
I was thinking about something else.
I wasn't going to go there.
Okay.
But when you're playing shallow in center field, you can really help yourself if you can do that.
We'll see Hawk Harrelson tomorrow. The White Sox will be in town for a 3-game series. Boy, are they hot.
They are extremely hot.
Won 11 in a row. 1 ball, 1 strike on David DeJesus. All of a sudden, the White Sox are tied with the Tigers for second place. Those two teams a game and a half behind Minnesota. And I'll bet Kenny Williams, at least right now, is glad he did not dismantle that team earlier this month when he was rumored to be considering it.
I tell you, with that pitching staff, I mean, you know those guys sooner or later are going to turn things around.
Line into left field. DeJesus will drive in Pasetnik. So the Royals have a 4-1 lead, and now, for the first time all year, Jaime Garcia has given up 4 earned runs in a game. And Tony La Russa is out of the dugout. So the Royals rough up a pitcher with a 1.79 ERA, the second best ERA in all of baseball. And the hook comes in the 3rd inning. So in our Chevy call to the bullpen, right-hander Mitchell Boggs will come on. In the bottom of the 2nd inning for a 2-run lead, and now in the 3rd, Scott Pasetnik with a single, a stolen base. Jason Kendall singles, that gets Pasetnik to 3rd. David DeJesus single, gets him home, and it sends Jaime Garcia to the showers. So the Royals have been giant killers this past week, knocking down Steven Strasburg and giving him his first major league loss. And now Garcia with a tiny ERA, 1.79. He is out in the 3rd inning. So Mitchell Boggs pitches for the 2nd time in the series. The Royals saw him on Friday night. They got a run against him in an inning and 2/3. So Kendall at 2nd, DeJesus at 1st, and Boggs gets Billy Butler, and he throws strike 1. Billy grounded out to third base against Mitchell Boggs back on Friday. And out on a nice play by Albert Pujols in the second inning today. Grounded to third. Out at second base. And a double play. And for a split second, David Freese was thinking about a triple play. He looked at third, but decided to throw to second.
That's always in the back of any infielder's mind. But I tell you, Ryan, this is one of those situations where you got to take that. If it's on your left side, just go to second base and then go over to first and get the double play. So Lopez to Pujols to complete the play.
Those knees and those hips just shifted a little bit towards third base, but he'll take two. And Kendall's at third for Jose Guillen.
Now, this game really is the beauty of why a lot of people like baseball. You get Bruce Chen, who was in all kinds of trouble his first two innings, and it looks like it was going to be one of those games where the Royals get blown out early, and he's only giving up one run. And you're facing the guy, Jaime Garcia, who has a 1.79 ERA, and he's the one that gets in trouble. He's out of the ball game.
Bruce Chen is going to go to the mound in the fourth inning with at least a 3-run lead. And the Royals were busy in the bullpen in the top of the second inning.
And if there's room in the dugout, he should be doing cartwheels.
Pulled the deep short off of Ryan's glove and out into left field. Guillen will hold with a single, and he drives in Kendall to make it 5-1, and Jose is awarded a base hit and a 21-game hitting streak.
You know, he doesn't really hit this ball well. I mean, this ball just hitting a good spot. Ryan goes over, and there's a ball that appeared to be catchable, but whether he had to play at first base or not, you don't know. You know, Jose's wearing the singles out. You know, coming in this game, I think 25 of his last 29 hits are singles.
Yeah, the last 14 games now of the 21-game hitting streak. Jose has extended the streak with a single.
And where did the home run come from? It came from the bench.
No balls and 2 strikes on Callaspo.
You got to think back. Rick Ankel's been gone a long time, and you know, he's that one guy in the lineup that, you know, you knew that the strikeouts were going to be there, but he had that home run potential, and you wonder what kind of difference he would have made in the middle of this order had he not been out for so long.
Alberto Callaspo had an important walk last inning. 2 outs, nobody on. Royals down 1-0. Garcia's retired the first 5. And Alberto walked, and then Mike Aviles walked. And then Wilson Betemit hit a 3-run home run, and that just turned the game around. And now the Royals with 2 more in the bottom of the third and lead 5-1. Very close. Three balls, 2 strikes. Tony La Russa hasn't gotten much out of his rotation in this series. Jeff Suppan went 5 innings on Friday night. Blake Hawksworth, now he was filling in out of the bullpen. He only went 5 innings yesterday, and now Garcia goes 2. Guillen runs, and Callaspo pops it up. And Pujols and Molina are both there. Molina makes the play. And the inning is over, but not before the Royals add 2. game, leading 5-1. He has hit 92 on the Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison with Jaime Garcia, who hit 93. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. But Bruce is still in there beginning the top of the 4th inning. And Garcia is out, giving up 5 runs, 4 hits in 2 innings. And one of the biggest outs that Bruce has today is against Randy Wynn. The Cardinals open the game with the bases loaded and nobody out, with Matt Holliday, David Freese, Colby Rasmus, and Randy Wynn coming up. And all they got out of that was a sacrifice fly. Randy Wynn's strikeout was the final out of the inning with the bases loaded. So the Royals on offense have come up with 5 runs in the first 3 innings against one of the best pitchers in the National League. But on the mound, the story for the Royals is Bruce Chen getting out of that mess in the first inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Randy Wynn.
All right, look at Fox Tracks here. And this is Bruce Chen right here at his best right here. If he can get that pitch, he'd be a lot more difficult in this game. But it seems like Dana DeMuth is going to make him throw the ball on the plate. So he's got to figure out how much of the plate he can get and still survive.
There is no Jerry's Lane to work with today. But Randy Wynn is down on strikes again. Here's Randy Wynn's strikeout back in the first inning with the bases loaded.
Just similar spots and similar location.
And then this inning,
they just basically from the right side. It's like he's just trying to, the ball's away, but his head's turning, trying to pull it, trying to hit the ball way too hard.
Molina lines it to right. Guillen is right there. Yadier Molina, who is dying for a hit that ball hard, but he is out and now 0 for his last 13. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game is coming up on Tuesday, July the 13th, live from Anaheim, seen only on Fox. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. on the 13th. And who will represent the Royals? Will it be Billy Butler? Will it be David DeJesus? Will it be Wilson Bettamy?
That's funny how that name just went right through my head the same time you was talking. I said, well, let's throw his name in there.
Joaquim Soria would be a good all-star candidate.
You know, with the offense really not really driving the ball at this time, a lot of singles and not a lot of doubles and home runs, and Wilson Bettman has that kind of strength. I wonder with this having Ed Yost thinking a little bit about maybe getting him more playing time.
Bruce Chen, after struggling in the first 2, is now retired 8 in a row. satisfying their customers. Thoroughbred Ford. Five to 1 Royals after getting 3 in the second inning, 2 more in the third, and knocking out Jaime Garcia after just 2 innings. So our Chevy call to the bullpen, and here's right-hander Adam Ottavino, just called up on Friday when this series began. He's appeared in 3 games. He'll get Mike Aviles, Wilson Betemit, and Willie Bloomquist. Mitchell Boggs picked up for Garcia in the third inning and gives up 1 hit. That's it. He also got a double play ground ball from Billy Butler. Aviles walked and scored on the Betemit home run in the second inning, as the Royals did it again. 2 outs and nobody on base, and they score. This time they get 3. Popped up, shallow right. 3 Cardinals are chasing, and it's Pujols who tried to make an over-the-head catch down by his waist and couldn't grab it.
Well, it looks like he had a beat on it, Ryan. Like he had it measured just perfect, and the ball went right off the end of his glove. He got there. Well,
maybe something to do with the sun and from the sky to his hat. That
then you say, as a baseball manager or coach, wear your glasses. Can't take anything for granted.
Aviles grounds to Freese, and he is out, number 1. Coming up the day after tomorrow in the second game of the White Sox series, the first 20,000 fans will receive a retro 1973 All-Star T-shirt presented by Commerce Bank. That is T-shirt number 4 of the 7 T-shirt Tuesdays this year. So you can get your tickets right now if you want to add to your collection at Royals.com or at 1-800-6-ROYALS. Wilson Betemit. I think we might need to add him to our Sprint You Call It. Who would you pay to see? Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Albert Pujols, or Wilson Betemit? He has already homered as a right-hand batter to the opposite field against Jaime Garcia in the second inning, a 3-run home run. Now he flips over to the right side. And you remember back on June the 10th, he hit a home run from both sides of the plate at Minnesota. 2-1.
It's just amazing how poised he is. And normally when you haven't played in a while, you're a little jumpy and you chase some pitches out of the strike zone. But he's been real selective about the pitches he wants to hit, and he works himself into that count to where he can put a good swing on the ball.
2 balls and 2 strikes. 50% say Babe Ruth. Only 3% say Albert Pujols. And that might have more to do with, if you want to see Albert Pujols play, it is much easier today than it was back when Babe Ruth played, or even Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. Easier to get around the country, more television access. Betemit breaks his bat and still gets a hit. And you're not going to see a ball hit much farther than that on a bat that breaks in half.
When you're hot, and when he's got a good swing and he puts himself in a good count, it's a changeup, Ryan. It really just got in on his hands and just shattered that bat. But he's strong enough to get the ball out in the right field and get himself another base hit. And when you talk about maple bats flying through the infield, that's about as far as one goes. Luckily, the second baseman vacated going after the ball.
Now grounded over third baseman Freese and into left field. Willie Bloomquist is 1 for 2. Runners at first and second with 1 out.
This might be a case of maybe not enough water in front of the plate. And Willie does a good job on his changeup, just beating it right down on top of the ground there. And the ground's hard enough that it was able to bounce over Freese's head at third base. I mean, that's frustrating when you're in the infield. You get a nice hop that just continues to go. And it's that time of year when the weather's hot like this, the ground gets hard in front of home plate, and those balls go a long way when they hit the ground right in front of the plate.
Scott Pasednik singled, leading off the third inning, stole a base and scored. And the Royals got 2 in that inning after getting 3 in the second. Ottavino throws strike 1. Scott flied out to left his first time. Ottavino, a Cardinals prospect, a first-round pick in 2006 out of Northeastern University. So starting the game was a 22nd round pick who turned into a big prospect. Here's a guy who was a prospect from day one when you're taken in the first round. In 2005, he was the America East Conference Pitcher of the Year. 1-2. Royals with 5 runs on 7 hits. All 5 runs against Jaime Garcia, who had never allowed more than 3 earned runs in any of his first 14 starts this year. And the Royals breaking a long home run drought. They had gone 7 straight games without a home run, and Wilson Betemit snapped that with a 3-run blast in the second inning. The Royals back in 2000 had a stretch of games, 8 without a home run. So this one was the longest since then, 10 years. The Royals sending Jaime Garcia's ERA from 1.79 to 2.27. Two balls, 2 strikes.
I guess Ross could be considered in a lot of professional baseball players' terms and coaches and scouts as pesky. You know, a lot of pesky hitters, guys that know how to hit, how to get on base, but just don't have that power throughout the lineup that can get you those 2- and 3-run homers to make the job a lot easier.
Grounded to Pujols. He'll go down to second. Out there. Leap throw back to first is not in time. Brendan Ryan throwing and jumping at the same time, and Pasednik beat the throw.
Yeah, you're going to have your feet in the ground where you get off your best throw in order to get Pasednik on this ground ball. Pujols does a good job of getting the ball down to Ryan at second base, but you got to have those feet on you to get that good throw back over.
So first and third, and now Jason Kendall singled and scored in the third inning. He grounded out in the first. You know, as far as the Royals offense goes, being first or second in the league in hitting this year has been a big improvement, but in some cases it's been a curse too, because the next few words in the sentence are they're first or second in the league, but they're 8th in the league in runs scored. Well, the Royals were second from the bottom last year in runs scored, so they've made a huge jump in that department as well. But I think if the Royals personally were 5th or 6th or 7th in the league in hitting, then we'd be talking more about how much this offense has improved one year to the next. But because there's such a wide gap between hits and runs, it almost seems like the offense has been a disappointment. Pasednik was running, and Kendall fouls it away.
Well, I think you really got to look at it as carefully as you just explained it. I think that really points out they have improved actually in both areas. But I think right now when you're talking about being on top of the league and hitting, and you look at the teams that are in first place, you're right there with those guys. And then you go down to the run production side and you look throughout the lineup and you look at the middle of this lineup and you really don't see the big bashers that are consistently driving the ball in the 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. But, you know, on the other hand, though, Ryan, it makes it exciting because you always have men on base and you give the manager an opportunity to do a lot of things that fans like bunt, hit and run, steal bases. But the biggest thing, and I think Nate Yost said it best himself, was that when you're getting 6, 7, 8 hits to try to score 3 runs, that makes it difficult.
Well, the Royals are 8th in the league in runs scored. If they had the 8th best record in the league, they'd be 5 games over 500 and a game and a half out of first place.
Unbelievable.
What's wrong with that?
They're just in the wrong division.
So sometimes you have to look at the improvement that was made in just a year. It's not the finished product, but the Royals have made a huge leap from last year and hopefully will continue to move in the right direction. Cardinals thought the Royals might try a little double steal, and they pitch out with 2 outs and runners at first and third.
Ottavino's not really fast to the plate. And I like running these 2-2 counts. And most teams, you look at the 2-2 count, and the Royals had a real low batting after that 2-2 count. And now you got the runner running, the batter swinging. Now you got another hole open.
So the Royals say that sounds like a good idea. We will be running. And the ball gets away from Molina. Scott Podsednik has his 2nd stolen base of the day and his 22nd of the season. And that puts 2 runners in scoring position for Jason Kendall.
Well, Scotty gets a great jump right here, Ryan. It actually goes in feet first. Normally he's going in head first.
Still 3-2. Frank pointed out when Kendall singled in the 3rd inning that normally Scott Podsednik would score on a ground ball to center field with his speed, but the outfield was so shallow, and there they are again. I mean, Colby Rasmus and Schumacher and Wright are way in. And it's lined to center. And Rasmus has it sail over his head. So that strategy backfires, and it costs the Cardinals 2 runs.
Playing shallow, Ryan, you really got to be able to read that line drive off the bat, and here Jason Kendall really gets behind this one. Colby Rasmus kind of hesitated a little bit, didn't really react to it right away, and this ball just kept sailing right over his head. That's 2 RBI for Kendall here, and you can see where he says, man, I don't have a chance on this ball. You just become a ball chaser at that point because you don't read it right away and break right away. That ball just takes off, and he just couldn't catch up with it.
So the Royals have scored 7 runs in the last 3 innings. After Jaime Garcia opened the game, retiring the first 5. Looked like it could be a long day for the Royals. And it might be a long day, but the Royals so far are enjoying the ride. Is loaded and nobody out in the first inning. The Cardinals got 1. They haven't scored since, and the Royals, against one of the best in baseball, have scored 5 against Garcia, 7 total in the game.
That's unbelievable how they come out and they can really take a game and turn it around because of the type of hitters they have. And they just came out and were very patient, worked the count, and got their base hits. And at the same time, they're able to steal some bases and play more aggressively in this ball game.
So that line doesn't look bad. 1 run on just 1 hit in 4 innings for Bruce Chen, but the number that has hurt him is his pitch count. He has thrown 86, and he still needs 3 outs to qualify for the win. 1 ball, 1 strike on Skip Schumacher. And the Cardinals really thought they had a big inning in the works in the first, and Schumacher, leading off the game, was behind 0 balls, 2 strikes, and then was hit with the next pitch. So a break for him. And the Cardinals, and Lopez singled. Pujols walked, and the bases were loaded with nobody out, but the Cardinals scored 1. Soft liner is caught at short by Aviles. And then Bruce got into trouble in the 2nd inning. With 1 out, he walked Brendan Ryan and Skip Schumacher. And Kanikoa Teixeira was warming up in the bullpen. But now Bruce Chen has retired 9 straight. And he jumps ahead of Lopez, who singled in the first, popped out in the 2nd inning. And Bruce really picking up his tempo now. I'll bet that has something to do with the score and feeling better about his stuff.
Getting that 2nd win, Ryan. Sometimes when you think the air's been let out of that tire and you don't have anywhere else to go, and before you know it, somebody brought you an air compressor and gave you some new life. And that's what Bruce Chen's working on right now. I tell you, he's got to feel great about how he's overcome those first 2 innings today.
So you think this all has something to do with an air compressor?
Just new life. Just new life.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Point well made. Felipe Lopez, the Blue Jays' 1st-round pick in '98. He's been around a while. Rolls it right to Bloomquist. And Bruce Chen has retired 10 straight. Chevy will show us the location of that last pitch.
When hitters know you're going to live outside for the most part, especially when you're trying to get them out, they're going to go outside the zone and try to put the ball in play. And that's what Felipe Lopez did right here. This ball's well off the plate, and he was able to make contact, but soft contact.
So that means Pujols bats with nobody on, and he could hit one to Liberty, and it would still be a 5-run game. 1 for 8 in the series with a couple of walks, and that's it. 2 balls and no strikes. Back and out of play, 2-1. A 34-pitch 1st inning and a 30-pitch 2nd inning. So Bruce Chen was 64 pitches into it after 2. And if he retires Pujols, he will have retired the last 11 Cardinals. 3-1. You might as well just lay one in here, right? 6-run game. Very high and deep. And it will carry out of the ballpark. Well, I'm going to say that's better than walking him in a 6-run game. And if Albert Pujols was going to hit 1 home run in this weekend series, now was the time to do it. From the Royals' point of view.
I agree totally with that. My smile was because you called it again. You said, I would just lay one in there right here. And guess what happens when he just lays one in there? But it's better than giving that free pass. When a guy has to hit the ball, you always got a chance. But, Albert Pujols, when you watch him hit, you watch Billy Butler hit, their head stays right there throughout the swing, and they come up once the ball is well on its way into the outfield.
So Pujols drives in his 1st run of the weekend.
And he's saying to himself, why couldn't I have done that earlier?
Yeah. Well, he's had his chances earlier in the series. Remember, he hit into that double play on Friday night in the first inning. Grounded into a fielder's choice with 2 on, 2 out on Friday night. That was the game that the Royals won. 2 balls and 1 strike on Holiday. Yesterday, popped out with a man on, grounded into a double play in the 5th inning. And today, with 2 on, nobody out, walked. 2 on, 2 out in the second, flied out, and now homers with nobody on base. So it's not like the Royals haven't given Albert Pujols a chance to do something. They've just pitched him very well.
They pitched him outstanding. But I got to tell you still have the knack.
You're forgetting all the other ones. I appreciate you only remembering the ones when I'm remotely close.
But when the prolific hitters hit them, people remember.
But Bruce comes back and strikes out Holiday, so he qualifies for the win, and the Royals lead by 5. Royals baseball is brought to you by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. By Panera Bread. Explore a menu of hearty soups, salads, sandwiches, and breakfast items. And by Chevrolet. Come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. Seven to 2 Royals in the bottom of the 5th inning. Adam Ottavino with his 2nd inning of work, taking over last inning, giving up 2 runs on the Jason Kendall double. 2 balls and 1 strike to Billy Butler. Billy grounded into a double play in the 3rd inning. And for Billy, that is double play number 21 this year for him. Now he rolls it to short, and Brendan Ryan throws low. Pujols falling over to try and save it, and it's off of his glove. That's an error on Brendan Ryan.
Well, he gets it in pretty good shape. He sort of relaxes a little bit on this throw, and the ball sailed on him. You got to get the ball, and you got to go right on through with the play. You take that little extra time to relax, and all of a sudden you're off the mark on your throw to first base. Now, Albert did all he could to keep the ball from getting back. And when you're not hitting, Ryan, you got to play defense.
1-0 on Jose Guillen. He singled an infield single and drove in a run in the Royals' 2-run third inning. And he's got his hitting streak to 21 games. 1 for 2 overall today. And another base hit. That's about as hard as he's hit it in the last 5 games. 2 on, nobody out. Today's AT&T trivia question: which team had the most stolen bases in the 1985 World Series? Well, I'm going to say it was either the Cardinals or the Royals. Inside to Alberto Callaspo. Now, that was the year, wasn't it, when the tarp machine ran over Vince Coleman?
Yeah, that was the.
So they were missing some stolen
fortunate
bases
for us.
Yeah.
Well, they had McGee and Landrum.
The Cardinals, Al Broughton tells me, led the major leagues that year in stolen bases, and the Royals were 10th. So you would think then that the Cardinals would lead the league as Callaspo rolls it into right field. Billy Butler will be held at third. And now we'll see what the Royals do with the bases loaded and nobody out. First hit of the day for Alberto Callaspo. And it's another 10-hit game for the Royals, and they've done it in less than 5 innings.
Alberto didn't waste around. They waited for a pitch out over the plate. This 95-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle. Just gets his hands through it. Hard ground ball right to right field. Schumacher comes up. They're playing shallow, and Billy had to be held at third.
Did you have a stolen base in the 85 World Series?
I had one. I got thrown out once. So I had one. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say we did.
Okay. You're really going out on a limb there. I mean, if you miss, you're only going to miss by 1.
Hey, it's a big fall. Didn't know how high in the tree are when you miss that one limb.
Outside to Mike Aviles. He was just stretching behind shortstop, shallow left field, and that automatic turf machine came out, and he didn't hear it or see it.
I don't know what happened, but it's the weirdest thing I ever heard of.
Aviles into right field. Schumacher has a great arm. Butler will tag, but he's not going to go anywhere. Schumacher isn't very big, but when he was in college, he was clocked anywhere from 92 to 94. So that's why he is an outfielder. And remember, last year he was moved to the infield. So that's about as strong an arm as you're going to see when he's at second base.
Well, that's true. A lot of times that doesn't help you when you move to the infield, because at second you got to shorten that range of motion up, and it's all about being quick there and not about how hard you can get the ball from second to first.
So Wilson Betemit, with the bases loaded, 1 out. He already has a 3-run home run. That was from the right side, and he pulls the first pitch foul. This is back in the second inning with 2 on, 2 out.
They just got him a fastball out over the plate, right, and just get down through it. And when you drive the ball to right field, you got to be out over the pitch, and he did a great job.
One ball, 1 strike. This is back on June the 10th at Minnesota, hitting home runs from both sides of the plate. This was early in the game, and then late in the game as a right-hand batter, and as it turned out, the Royals needed that run, and that was the difference in the game.
You don't see many switch hitters with that kind of power on both sides of the plate.
Trying to go to left field, fouls it away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Butler at third, Guillen at second, Callaspo at first. So the Royals don't have a lot of speed out there. They lead by 5 with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Royals have scored in each of the last 3 innings. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Wilson Betemit has been hitting the ball at night. He's been hitting it during the daytime. A good title for the way he's been going in his short amount of playing time. Just a little bit high. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
And just the way he's just been so selective at the plate too, Ryan. Not chasing many bad pitches. Now this is at the top of the zone right here. Normally you would get a pitch like this, but umpires tend to call that high pitch. What I see is 3-0. They call, seem like everything's strike 3-0.
Pulls it to Pujols. He'll come to the plate. So the Cardinals deciding they couldn't get a double play. So if they were going to get one, they were going to cut down Butler. So they're loaded up with 2 down.
Now you watch Billy coming down from third base. Now this is one of the situations here, Ryan, where you got to really come down the line as hard as you can, and if you don't know if he's going to throw that ball to second base or come to home plate, so just get as close to home plate as you can.
And breaking up the double play also applies at the plate too, right?
You can definitely do it at the plate. If you can get there early enough and hit the catcher and knock him off balance. I won a game for us like that one time. It cost me about 11 stitches in my knee, but we got it done.
Now 1-0 on Willie Bloomquist, who is singled and grounded out to short. So this has not been a good game for either team so far with the bases loaded, nobody out. I mean, that is a huge opportunity. The Cardinals in that situation got 1 in the top of the first inning. And the Royals look like they're going to get nothing. Brendan Ryan, who has an error in this inning, makes the catch, and the Royals strand 3 in the 5th, but they lead by 5. Inc. College Night. So not only will all high school and college students get select tickets for just $7, but this Wednesday the Royals are going to host an 80s retro night. So wear your best 80s gear, because there will be a costume contest and a trivia contest and a chance to win some great prizes. That's Wednesday night against the Chicago White Sox. So Bruce Chen gets through 5, qualifies for the win. And Kyle Farnsworth will take over in the 6th inning. And that was very much a professional outing for Bruce Chen, in a sense that he was in so much trouble in the 1st inning and in the 2nd inning. It looked like he wasn't going to get out of the 2nd inning. The Royals scored him some runs. He pulled it together, retired 11 of the last 12. And if the bullpen can hold it, Bruce will win his 4th of the year. David Freese struck out twice against Bruce Chen. 1 ball, 1 strike against Kyle Farnsworth. Freese, Rasmus, and Wynn coming up in the 6th. 2 balls, 1 strike. Farnsworth pitched yesterday, a scoreless 7th inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes against Freese. Make that a scoreless 8th inning. Gave up a single, and that's it. To the hole on the right side, Bloomquist is there, and there is 1 away. Royals bullpen has been outstanding over the past 2 weeks, and Farnsworth trying to continue that. Remember how the bullpen struggled early in the year? Well, look at what they've done in their last 14 games. There's been a lot more smiling out there with a 1.51 ERA. That's 7 earned runs in 41 2/3 innings, and that just got a little bit better with the ground ball from David Freese. So the roles are solidified, and now the results are following.
The definitely results are there, Ryan, and the Royals had to go through a few bodies before they finally got it to where it is today. And I really go back to bringing Blake Wood to the big leagues and having him come in and establish himself right away, and that sort of put a little sense of order to the bullpen, and everybody else sort of picked up from there.
Right center field off the bat of Rasmus, and David DeJesus with his 222 game errorless streak makes the play. Rasmus is 0 for 2. Today's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg with producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton and Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. Along with our great Fox Sports Kansas City crew, and we are thankful today for a little cooler day and some cloud cover, as the boys were melting out there yesterday with temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, high humidity, and full sunlight. Pulled to first, and Bedemead has it, and it's another scoreless inning for the Royals bullpen. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. And welcome to Silver Dollar City in Branson. Silver Dollar City is an 1880s styled amusement park where the adventure of the past is combined with the high-tech thrills of the present. There are 6 world-class festivals, 24 rides, 60 unique shops, 12 restaurants, 50 live shows, and more than 100 resident craftsmen. Silver Dollar City. Coming up on Wednesday, the first 20,000 fans are going to receive a 1985 World Series Game 5 DVD. That's the Royals and the White Sox at 7:10, the final game of this homestand, the final home game before the All-Star break. And a game that is not talked about very much, but an important game because the World Series could have ended in St. Louis if not for Game 5. Jason LaRue is now behind the plate for the Cardinals as they trail by 5 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kyle Farnsworth working a 1-2-3 top of the 6th inning. And looked like he was walking off the field a bit gingerly, but nobody is warming up in the Royals bullpen behind him as he was running over to first base on a ground ball to Wilson Betemit. So maybe just taking it easy on a hot, humid day, trying to conserve some energy so he can go back out there for the 7th. Scott Pasednik, Jason Kendall, and David DeJesus against Adam Ottavino. Felipe Lopez moves over to third base. Aaron Miles is now in the game at second. Into right field, Schumacher is back and runs it down on the warning track. So David Freese is out in addition to Yadier Molina. Which team had the most stolen bases in the 1985 World Series? Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Frank says the Royals. And I say the Royals. Cardinals had 2 stolen bases, so the Royals had 5 more. I remember the question that came up in 1985. There's John Wathen. How could the fastest man in baseball get run down by a tarp machine?
That's all we heard was Coleman gets wrapped up in tarp and won't be able to play. And we kind of smile. I have to admit.
You're trying to win the World Series.
You don't wish him any long-term effects, but when you can eliminate a guy like that from a short series, that's a big elimination.
Ken Harvey was swallowed up by the Royals tarp here at Kauffman Stadium a few years ago, but the tarp didn't go after him. He challenged the tarp and got caught back there, couldn't get out, and it's a funny play now looking back on it, but I don't remember what was more entertaining. Harvey disappearing behind the tarp, or Tony Pena, then Royals manager, running out there and getting his back up against the barrier wall and trying to push the tarp away with his legs as if there were snakes and alligators down there, and you had to get Harvey out of there as quickly as possible.
It's not, getting caught behind the tarp is not as bad as getting caught under the tarp. Sometimes you go sliding down behind the tarp like that, you don't want to come back up. You're too embarrassed to come back up.
David DeJesus, 1 for 3 today with an RBI. No balls and 2 strikes. Royals with 3 in the 2nd inning on Wilson Betemit's 3-run home run. 2 in the 3rd, DeJesus and Guillen driving in runs. And 2 in the 4th on Jason Kendall's double. And the Royals have scored 6 of their 7 runs with 2 outs.
The Royals have really blown by that theory of 2-out base hits are the hard, 2-out RBI the hardest to get. I mean, to them, they're not comfortable unless it is 2 outs.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 5 of the runs coming against Jaime Garcia, one of the best pitchers statistically in the major leagues this year, with a 1.79 ERA in his first 14, but he was out in the 3rd inning. David DeJesus has his 2nd hit, so here we go again, perhaps 2 outs, nobody on, and a runner at first base.
The Royals are really taking advantage of that hard ground in front of home plate, and here David does it again. Hits that hard ground, bounces well past Ottavino at home plate. I mean, this ball bounces almost to second base before it comes down. So that's an advantage for Royals, the way that type of hitters they are, to be able to take advantage of that hard ground in front of home plate.
Ball 1 to Billy Butler. Billy 0 for 3 today. He's grounded into a double play, his 21st of the year. We talked about it a bit yesterday that there is nothing positive about grounding into a double play if you're the hitter. It is a negative statistic, but the league leaders are usually good hitters. That means they hit the ball hard. You really can't turn a double play on a weakly hit ground ball. And as we talked about yesterday, the league leaders in that department, Billy is on top, but then Joe Mauer, Adrian Beltre's in that group, Michael Kadire, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, Marco Scudero. Those are some good players. Not much consolation for Billy, although one of the league leaders in the National League is Albert Pujols.
Marco Scudero surprises me that he has that many, but you know, the other guys, you look at their foot speed and you can kind of tell by if they hit the ball as firm as they do on a consistent basis, you can see why that number would go up, but he kind of surprises me a little bit.
Line into the right field corner. That is a foul ball off the barrier wall. Here are some of the league leaders in the National League, Frank, grounding into double plays. Pablo Sandoval, Ivan Rodriguez, Albert Pujols, Justin Upton, Troy Tulowitzki, Hanley Ramirez, Derek Lee. They're good players.
Yeah, Tulowitzki, Ramirez. You wouldn't think they'd have as many. But it's how hard you hit the ball. It determines whether or not you hit into a lot of double plays or not.
And Billy is down on strikes, so he's 0 for 4 today. At the end of 6, the Royals lead 7-2. Two in the 7th inning. Wilson Betemit giving the Royals a 3-run home run in the 2nd inning, putting the Royals in front 3-1. Jason Kendall hit a 2-run double in the 4th inning. Royals led 7-1 at that point. Cardinals have added a run since, and Bruce Chen after a rocky first 2 innings, retired 11 of the last 12. And the Royals lead by 5 in front of another big crowd at Kauffman Stadium. Aaron Miles will lead off. So he bats for the first time. Came on defensively in the bottom of the 6th inning. Aaron Miles had 2 hits and a walk yesterday. Scored one of the Cardinals' 5 runs, and he did that as the designated hitter. Past Farnsworth, Aviles charges, bare hands, throws late.
Well, Mike does the best he can do right here, Ryan. Just bare hands this ball and get the best throw off possible. Aaron Miles runs too good, and he beats this play out.
That's the first base runner, if you will, for the Cardinals since the 2nd inning. Albert Pujols hit a home run in the 5th, but it didn't require Bruce Chen to pitch out of the stretch position. It didn't put any pressure on the defense. He just circled the bases and then back to nobody on base. So it's the first time someone has stood at the bases in 5 innings. Brendan Ryan walked, stole 2 bases in the 2nd inning, and flied out in the 4th. He is 0 for his last 15. Deep short, Aviles over to second, Bloomquist to first, and Betemit came off the bag. So Miles is out, 1 away.
Ryan beats his ball in the ground. The Aviles goes to his right. Now you see where Woolley really had a hard time getting that ball out of his glove and really didn't get his shoulder square to first base, and that's why the ball ran down toward the runner, and Wilson Betemit just got his feet all tied up on that play. Hardest play on the infield. Turn a double play from second base.
And that's a play that no other infielder has to deal with.
Nope, that's it. You play with your back to first base, and you actually have to catch the ball and be in the act of throwing it before you actually pick the runner up coming down. So a lot of decisions to be made in a short period of time.
Ball 1 on Skip Schumacher. He scored in the 1st inning. So leadoff man on, he comes around to score. That's the goal of every team, but that was a disappointing 1st inning for the Cardinals because they had the bases loaded and nobody out. So they had a chance to do something big right away, and this is the deciding game of the series. But Matt Holliday sacrifice fly scoring Schumacher, that was it. Bruce Chen had 2 big strikeouts in the inning against David Freese and Randy Wynn. Fouled away, 1 ball, 1 strike on Schumacher. And the Cardinals had another opportunity in the 2nd inning with 1 out, a couple of walks. The Royals were busy in the bullpen. Bruce Chen appeared to be skating on very thin ice, but he got out of that and then retired 11 of the last 12. Towards left center field, Scott Podsednik reaches up to make the play, and Schumacher is hitless. Don't forget, before and after every game on Fox Sports Kansas City, you can join us for Royals Live as Joel Goldberg brings you the latest Royals news and breaks down the game's action. For complete Royals pre- and post-game coverage, tune in for Royals Live here on Fox Sports Kansas City. And the post-game, as always, out in Rival Sports Bar, which is a cooler place to go on a day like today, but with the windows open, they're getting plenty of the warm air. Might have been a little more comfortable in there yesterday, getting out of the full sunlight. But for the past 3 innings or so, it's been completely overcast. So it's warm, it's muggy, but no hot sun.
And it's been really nice to see this Kauffman Stadium full, Ryan. It gives you an idea of how beautiful a stadium looks when it's full of people.
Sellout crowds on Friday and Saturday. There's some empty sections at the top of the upper deck, but otherwise jam-packed. Bloomquist retreats to the outfield grass, and a high throw. Betemit comes down on the bag in front of Lopez. Stretch time at Kauffman Stadium. The Royals lead by 5. Final day of interleague play. Panera takes us around the major leagues. San Diego beats Florida, so the Padres have won 3 in a row, still leading the West. The Mets over Minnesota, they're in the 9th inning, so that's an opportunity for the White Sox and the Tigers. Cleveland in front of Cincinnati. The Reds have won 5 in a row, and that's who the Cardinals are chasing. Philadelphia beating up on Toronto. Detroit, if they hang on, they'll be a half game back in the Central Division. Orioles, for the first time this year, have won 4 in a row as they beat the Washington Nationals. Diamondbacks trying to beat Tampa Bay. They're in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Cubs close to ending the White Sox 11-game winning streak before they come to Kansas City. And it's Milwaukee in front of Seattle. Seattle still in last place in the American League West. Jose Guillen scheduled to lead off in the bottom of the 7th inning, but it'll be Chris Getz. So Guillen with 2 hits, a 21-game hitting streak. So he will rest up before the series begins with the White Sox tomorrow. And the former White Sox infielder Chris Getz will face Adam Ottavino. Getz has not played yet in this series, but on Wednesday against Steven Strasburg and the Nationals, he got the start at second base and had 2 hits.
The way the bench players have been coming off and getting base hits and getting base hits in tough situations against tough pitchers tells me that these guys have been doing a great job behind the scenes, just working on their swing and their approach to hitting.
Chase ball 3, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Royals scored 3 in the second inning, 2 in the third, and 2 in the fourth, and have 11 hits in 6 innings. Ryan charges in from shortstop, and Chris Getz is out number 1. So another good day at the plate for the Royals on offense. Second in the league in hitting coming into the game. Only the Texas Rangers have a better team batting average than the Royals. And that team batting average is just 2 points ahead of the Royals. Oh, 0-1 to Alberto Callaspo. He walked and scored in the Royals' 3-run second inning and singled in the fifth. One and one. Pulled foul off to the right field side. So the Royals hoping to hang on today. That would give them an 8-10 record against the National League. That was what they finished with last year. And trying to hand the Cardinals their first series loss against the American League. They've done very well in interleague play. They've taken 2 out of 3 from the Angels, the Mariners, the A's, and they just took 2 out of 3 from Toronto before coming to Kansas City. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Not quite a sellout today, but another nice crowd. Over 32,000. And the 3-game series attracts 110,311. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes on Callaspo. This is the first time in 5 years that the Royals and the Cardinals only hooked up once. So the last 4 years, Royals played a series in St. Louis and a series here. You can tell that Jason LaRue wanted that pitch down before it came in. He was putting the palm of his glove on the dirt in front of him. Make sure it's down. Make sure it's down.
Yeah, he'd even put that leg out and get low with it sometimes, just try to re-emphasize that. Alberto's done a great job of just fouling these balls off. He's really rolling over early on all these pitches.
Now he's down on strikes, 2 away in the 7th inning.
You take a look at all these pitches here, Ryan. I mean, Ottavino said, look, you want the ball down, I'm going to give it to you down. And every pitch is down where Jason LaRue wants it. And finally got his strikeout off the plate.
Line to shallow right field. Schumacher makes a nice running play, and that's all for the Royals in the 7th inning. Get your best deal now on new Ford F-150s at Thoroughbred Ford. Royals by 5, and that's been our score since the top of the 5th inning. Chris Getz batted for Jose Guillen. He'll stay in at second base, and Willie Bloomquist will move from second base to right. And the Royals bring on Robinson Tejeda for the top of the 8th inning, after Kyle Farnsworth gave them 2 scoreless innings. And the nice run continues for the Royals bullpen. Now they have allowed 7 earned runs in their last 43 and 2/3 innings. And Albert Pujols bats again with nobody on base.
Perfect timing.
When the series began, Tejeda and Pujols greeting each other with a big hug before the game out in center field. And that changes here. No balls, 2 strikes.
Now this pitch is up out of the strike zone. A lot of movement up and in on Albert, and he tried to catch up with it, but just above the bat and above the strike zone.
A little bit low. Maybe.
A little bit Albert.
Pujols 0 for 2 with a strikeout against Tejeda. If Tejeda wants to go back home to the Dominican Republic and put a little softball team together, he's got some pretty good buddies. David Ortiz, Albert Pujols. And when he has friends as hitters, he knows how to pick them out.
Looks like they're making a real good effort to try to keep the ball in on Albert Pujols, just try to tie him up. And Albert really was tied up on that running fastball down underneath the swing. Had trouble with his balance.
Albert was born in the Dominican Republic. He is the youngest of 12 children. And when he was very young, he moved to New York for a short time and then to Missouri at age 16, where he went to Fort Osage High School and then drafted out of Maple Woods Junior College in the 13th round in 1999. Very next year, he was the Cardinals Minor League Player of the Year. The year after that, the National League Rookie of the Year. It was unanimous. Tejeda gets him again. So Pujols, if he bats for the last time here, is 2 for 10 in the series.
So he's looking for something hard and down the middle of the plate, and Robbie threw this changeup, and this was outstanding. This is an outstanding pitch. So you'll buy him dinner later on.
Yeah.
Albert probably goes back saying, how can he throw me that pitch?
And the answer would be, because you're Albert Pujols.
Because you can hurt me.
Matt Holliday 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly back in the first inning. And if the Cardinals will kick themselves about anything in this game, it will be the first inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. Bruce Chen was having a tough time throwing strikes. He gave the Cardinals 3 base runners in that inning, and they scored once.
Matt Holliday seems to have a long swing, Ryan, on the fastball, and more of an off-speed swing at this point. I mean, that swing was long about by him before he got completely through with his swing.
Had him reaching, and Posednik comes up in left field, and Tejeda has retired Pujols and Holliday in the 8th inning. New series for the Royals tomorrow. Anthony LaRue will pitch for KC and Mark Burley for the Chicago White Sox. And it looks like their 11-game winning streak is going to come to an end as they are trailing the Cubs by 5 in the bottom of the 8th inning. So 3 games with the White Sox, and the Royals are on the road for 9 games in 10 days leading up to the All-Star break. Jason LaRue bats for the first time and takes ball 1. Popped up. Jason Kendall wants it, and that's the inning. Tejeda faces 3 and retires 3 in the 8th.
Cardinals 7-2 as we get ready for the bottom of the 8th. After the game, we've got Boulevard Royals live for you. Paul Splittorff and myself. Another big day for the Royals bats, but this time it comes with some power. We'll talk about that. Plus Bruce Chen, a long first inning, but he was able to navigate his way around it and manage his pitch count the rest of the day. Highlights, interviews, plus we'll start to get you ready for the White Sox and Royals. All of that coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Ryan?
All right, thank you, Joel. Royals in the bottom of the 8th inning are going to send up Wilson Betemit, Willie Bloomquist, and Scott Posednik. And Wilson Betemit has the biggest hit for the Royals today, a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Royals were down 1-0 with 2 outs and nobody on. Callaspo walked, Aviles walked. Betemit grounds it up the middle. Aaron Miles picks it off and gets it over to Pujols on a nice play. 1 down in the 8th. And then the Betemit home run with 2 on, 2 out in the 2nd inning. It's our Chevrolet play of the game.
Wilson Betemit came off the bench trying to give this offense a little extra base punch, and he hit a 3-run homer to right center field and put the Royals up by a couple runs.
Then the Royals added 2 in the 3rd and 2 in the 4th and led 7-1 until Albert Pujols homered in the 5th inning. Willie Bloomquist started at second base. Now he's out in right field. At the plate, he is 1 for 3 with a single in the 4th inning. Ed Yost shifting some guys around with Billy Butler serving as the DH, getting half the day off. Mike Aviles going over to short, giving Yuniesky Betancourt the entire day off. Uni is 0 for his last 12. Jose Guillen, who prefers right field over a designated hitter, got to play right today. So there's Betancourt chatting with Brian Pena, getting ready for the White Sox series. 3-1 from Adam Ottavino to Willie Bloomquist. Ottavino really taking one for the team here with Jaime Garcia coming out in the third inning. Mitchell Boggs got all 3 outs in the third. And now Ottavino has been in there since the fourth. Bloomquist lines it to left field for his second hit of the game. 1 on, 1 out.
Does a good job when he gets a bad hit on the bat through this ball. It's moving in on his hands, fastball moving in, and just stayed right with it. Nice line drive to left field.
Way outside to Scott Posednik. Royals leadoff man has scored twice today, and he has stolen 2 bases, giving him 22 on the year. One ball, 1 strike.
The Royals are down by 5. I mean, the Cardinals are down by 5 runs here, and they're playing behind Bloomquist at first base. And I'm surprised that the Royals don't take advantage of that. I mean, if you're going to play defense on him, you can move up and at least act like you're playing some kind of defense. But when you move all the way back, it's saying we just don't think you ought to run right here.
There's a chance to hit into a double play if you don't take that free base that the Cardinals are giving to you. Now, when Whitey Herzog was manager of the Cardinals, his philosophy was the game wasn't over until the game was over. He'd run with a 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8-run lead.
Well, I mean, in this case right here, Ryan, what Tony La Russa, you letting Tony La Russa really run your game for you. He's saying, okay, we're going to play way back. We don't think you should run. And he's just taking advantage of having better defense on the field at the same time. So if you're going to move up and play behind him, then that's one thing. And if you go all the way back and expect the Royals not to run, I think that's when you're letting the other guy run the game for you.
Well, Ned Yost knows all about that. He managed against Tony La Russa for 6 years in the National League Central. Jason Kendall, 2 hits, 2 runs driven in. A 2-run double in the 4th inning. Earlier in the game, in the 3rd, he had Scott Posednik at second base and hit a ground ball into center field. And you think Posednik would score easily on that, but the outfield was very shallow on Kendall, so Posednik had to hold. But with the outfield shallow in the 4th inning, Kendall drove one over Colby Rasmus in center field. And that drove in 2 runs. And now Rasmus in center field is kind of somewhere in between. He's not necessarily deep. He's not necessarily shallow. He's kind of trying to take care of both spots.
But I think teams really underestimate this ballpark. This is a big ballpark, no doubt. But when it's hot like it is right now, this ball really travels in the alley straightaway center field. And so sometimes you can get burnt simply because you're playing the size of the ballpark, but you're not really playing how it actually plays in hot weather.
And the ball has carried today. Betemeet with an opposite field home run into right center field. Albert Pujols is homer to straightaway left. And Dave Duncan out to have a visit with Ottavino and Jason LaRue. So Tony La Russa had to go to his bullpen in the 3rd inning. And Mitchell Boggs finished the 3rd for Jaime Garcia, but now Adam Ottavino has been in there since the 4th inning. So he's trying to go 5. And that would match the longest outing by a starter for the Cardinals in this series. In fact, their starter on Friday and on Saturday went just 5 innings. Lined into right center field. Schumacher was shallow, and he's going to have to chase this one all the way to the warning track. And Jason Kendall will drive in 2 more.
That's an outstanding piece of hitting, and pitchers like to throw Kendall away, but I tell you what, I'd probably pitch him more inside. He really likes the ball away, and he goes outside, and he hits a line drive in the right center field, and Posednik's able to go all the way from first base all the way to home plate to score on this double. And when those outfielders playing in shallow like that, that ball just split both of them in the outfield.
We showed you early in the game that Kendall has been struggling this month, and he only had 2 extra base hits in all of June. And now he has 2 today, so he doubles his output in 1 game. Drives in 4, and he's going to knock Ottavino out of the game. Former Royal Dennis Reyes will come on with Kendall at second base and 1 out, and now the Royals lead by 7. Day had the day off. Today he has 2 big hits for the Royals, 3 overall, and he's today's Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment.
Ronnie did a great job taking advantage of Kobe Rasmussen in center field by driving this ball over his head for a 2 RBI double, and he comes right back here and he splits Schumacher and Kobe Rasmussen right center field and plates 2 more RBI. What a day for Jason today.
The Royals had scored just 12 runs in their previous 5 games. That's just under 2.5 runs per game. And today they get 9 runs on 14 hits. Dennis Reyes with 1 out. Jumps ahead of David DeJesus. And the offense is spread out today. Scott Posednik 2 hits. Jason Kendall 3 hits. David DeJesus 2 hits. Jose Guillen 2 hits. Alberto Callaspo has a hit. Wilson Betemit has 2 hits. Willie Bloomquist has 2 hits. David DeJesus has 3 hits. Here comes Kendall, and Rasmus throw, and Kendall gets around LaRue. It is 10-2.
This is what Dennis Reyes, you got to be able to feel your position right here. This ball goes right between his legs and out in the center field. And Jason Kendall actually got a bad jump off second base, and Eddie Rodriguez decides to wave him anyway, and Kobe there's a nice spool. Boy, that's closer than I thought. Kobe Rasmus made a real nice throw on this run by playing in close like that. You know the play's going to be close at the plate.
Well, how about an intentional walk in an 8-run game in the bottom of the 8th inning? Wow. Well, maybe the Cardinals not happy that Kendall was waved around. So if that's the case, Billy Butler will walk, and 2 on 1 out. Setting up the lefty-lefty with Reyes and Getz.
Yeah, normally in that situation you don't, Ryan, when you got that big a lead. But Kendall did a good job of making that maneuver around LaRue at the plate.
So Jason Kendall is safe at home, safe and secure. New York life. A strike to Chris Getz. So 5 runs are charged to Adam Ottavino in 4 1/3 innings. Both runners now are the responsibility of Reyes, and he's ahead of Chris Getz. No balls, 2 strikes. Chris has a pinch hitter for Jose Guillen in the 7th inning, grounded out to short. So Tony La Russa is going to play this one to the final out.
I can't think if Eddie Rodriguez had it to do all over again, he would probably not have sent Kendall. Seeing that he took that step back to second base before he tried to score. And here you have Chris Getz hit by a pitch.
Or perhaps Tony La Russa has decided that the Cardinals are not going to win this game, and he wants Dennis Reyes to get his work against left-hand batters and set up a situation as if this was a close game, and he comes on, faces the lefty, walks the righty, faces another lefty, just to make sure that his bullpen stays sharp in a hopeless game.
Well, that's something that Tony would do, thinking ahead and getting out of this game and getting into the next series when Reyes may be used. I think you're right on that, Ryan. But I think right now he just wants to see a pitcher throw strike.
2 balls and no strikes to Callaspo. A walk and a run scored in the 2nd inning, and a single in the 5th. Callaspo is 1 out of 3. Alberto jumping back, but that hit the inside corner. Reyes pitched on Friday night. Pitched an inning and a 1/3, gave up 1 hit, struck out a hitter. And he faced Callaspo, who singled to center field. Backhanded by Lopez. He'll step on the bag, throw home, which makes it a tag play. And LaRue gets David DeJesus. So a double play ends the bottom of the 8th, but the Royals add 3 more. 2 big innings, a 3-run second, and now a 3-run bottom of the 8th inning. And Blake Wood will come on in the 9th inning for the 2nd straight game. With the Royals down yesterday, he pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up a base hit and a walk. Dusty Hughes had to finish off the inning. So Ned Yost puts him right back out there in an 8-run game. And he'll get Colby Rasmus, Randy Wynn, and Aaron Miles. Ball 1 to Rasmus, who had the big hit for the Cardinals yesterday, a 3-run home run. 4 hits in the first 2 games. 0 for 2 today. He has reached with a walk. And the count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Bruce Chen went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs. Kyle Farnsworth with a couple of scoreless innings. Robinson Tejeda pitched a scoreless 8th. And the Royals bullpen just continues to roll along. Blasted to right field. Oh my. Look out, Joel. Let's hit that thing up into rivals.
Well, there's no doubt about that one. And I tell you, when the weather heats up, the ball does travel. This park plays real small. And oh my goodness, Rasmus hit this ball a long way. I mean, this is like this changeup that Blake Wood left out over the plate, Ryan. I mean, he just crushed this ball. I mean, it was no doubt in his mind. You can tell by how he's moving toward first base. And this ball is probably 4 or 5 rows from being in rivals.
Well, anytime you say something is 10 rows back, that's not that impressive. But that cleared the bullpen and then was 10 rows back, measured at 429 feet. And Colby Rasmus takes over the team lead, or ties Albert Pujols for the team lead. They both homer today and both have 16. Nick Stavinoa is hitting for Randy Wynn. Stavinoa had 4 plate appearances yesterday, starting in right field. He was 0 for 3 with a run scored. And now he is down on strikes, so that's good to see. Blake Wood bounces back after the long home run, and there is 1 out in the 9th. Aaron Miles had an infield single in the 2nd inning, or make that the 7th inning. Came into the game on defense in the 6th. Nice play by Callaspo right at the railing of the dugout suite.
But he does good concentration on Alberto Caspo's part right here. He knows exactly where he is, and just made sure he just gave him a little bit of room and just stayed right with this pop up and right into the webbing of the glove.
So 2 down to Brendan Ryan. Batting at just .202 now. 0 for 2 with a walk and 0 for his last 16. Cleveland is in front of Cincinnati 5-3 in the top of the 9th inning. So that'll be news of some consolation to the Cardinals, who are a half game back of the Reds in the Central. So unless the Reds win it in the bottom of the 9th, they will not lose any ground today. Two and two. How about the movement on that pitch?
Well, that's a 2-sinker right there. I mean, that's what you want the Blake Wood ball to do. And when it turns over, as heavy as it is, it just goes right out of the strike zone.
Over Blake Wood, right to Chris Getz, and the Royals take 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals. Last year, the Royals had just one win in 6 tries against St. Louis. They were swept here and were outscored by 20 runs. But this year, in just one series against St. Louis, the Royals take 2 out of 3, winning on Friday 4-2 and blowing out the Cardinals today 10-2. So Bruce Chen, who barely got through 2 innings today, ends up with the win by going 5 and giving up 2 runs. Bruce Chen wins his 4th, and the Royals beat a very good pitcher today, Jaime Garcia, who had the 2nd best ERA in the major leagues before the game. He gave up 5 runs, 4 hits in 2 innings. So a good day all around for the Royals. On the mound, the bullpen does another good job.